पोषणं आयु बलं बुद्धिश्च कारणं प्रारंभे सुव्यवस्थितं जीवनस्य शुभं फलम्. So समझ में आया? अर्थమైందా? Okay. For you, so the nutrition in newborn, feed and infancy actually gives strength, wisdom, but life. Without that, you don't have a life. So when well established in the beginning, as rightly said, it yields a lifetime of well-being. It is a right start and it should be. And first of all, before I go into further, I want to thank Dr. Santosh Garu and the entire organizing committee of the NurtureCon and to inviting us is interesting and because we always meet the clinicians, but it's a very different perspective. And he said clinician, but actually the breastfeeding shouldn't be among the clinicians. It should be beyond that. We actually over clinicalize a lot of stuff in the world, and we are no except in India. So I think with that note we can start. Thank you, sir, and bring us to this platform. So learn more.
Over to you. So
Yeah, next slide.
so we can have slides. Do you want to
Yeah.
come here?
Oh, yeah, okay. I mean, it's okay. I can come there. Yeah.
Yeah. So have your
So
slides.
please overview. So I just take on to the previous panel and just remember what Dr. Govind Raju said. If the soil is not right, the crop which is coming out of will not be right. తల్లి ఆరోగ్యం బాగా ఉంది, తల్లి బాగా ఉంటేనే బిడ్డ ఆరోగ్యంగా పుడతారు. The mother nutrition is not right, then the whole story does not. I'll just give an anecdotal example here. So I was doing a ward rounds in New Zealand. I was working there. One of the professor, Frank Bloomfield, if you Google, you get his name, and he said nutrition is his area of interest. So I was presenting about a baby. I said, oh, 10 hours of life. So that's what we present in the medical rounds. What do you mean, 10 hours of life? You mean 10 hours of postnatal life. So that means life does exist even before baby was born, which is very precious, 9 months. So can I have the next slide, please? So can I have next slide, please? Yeah. So again, this slide doesn't look right here in the color base. So it starts with the fetal life and neonatal, infancy, and adulthood and so on. Whatever is happening during the pregnancy and newborn and infancy is going to impact you for the lifetime. And it is very important to target at those early levels, and we have a very excellent session about the maternal nutrition. Can I have the next slide, please? So what happens if you are not taking care of the nutrition properly in the mother itself? All the baby's organs can be shrinking in the fetal life, and it can change the phenotype, how the baby is going to express various proteins through the epigenetic. I've got more slides to show you. So the DNA methylation can change. So this is going to, so not only by genetic what you have, on the top of that, your genes, the way it works is going to be modified. You might have heard about epigenetics. Yeah. And then what you feed, how you feed the baby, how the baby is born, change the bacteria you have. There's a lot of research evidence that the bacteria of the babies which are born vaginal delivery are very different than the bacteria those are born by cesarean section. Again, that's whole is a different discussion, but these all ultimately change how your nutrition will influence. Okay, and then this is all the nutrients which are come through the mother, through the fetal life, and also during the lactation will influence the neuronal growth. That means your programming of the brain can be changed. Such a simple thing we think of the nutrition. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay? Yes? Done. So if you just a diagrammatic representation, if mother has any of those illnesses, undernutrition, stress, the way she thinks, the what she thinks, and the stress can influence what recent studies have shown, the placenta is a sensor. It controls how it grows, what it lets to the baby. So if the process, I'm not going into too much of technical detail here, the processes, if the mother is stressed, if the mother is not getting enough oxygen, or if she malnourished, the mTOR, which is the sensor in the placenta, will limit the amount of the nutrients or the various proteins which reach the baby. So ultimately that impacts the baby in the form of growth restriction, and the whole programming of the baby's body will be changed. Imagine, which we don't put thought into it. So there's so much happens in those 9 months. Can I have the next slide please? And you can see, again I'm not reading, so when things are not right with the mother, could be poor sanitation, undernutrition, or stress, or lack of macro or micronutrients, can cause the low birth weight. The problem of low birth weight is very prevalent in India, and IUGR and the infant growth, the small babies. And then overall, that programming is done for life. As the adult, they will develop diabetes, they will develop hypertension, they will develop all other lifestyle diseases which were actually programmed initially. So you might have heard developmental origin of diseases. Okay, next slide please. Yeah, so again is an example of a diagrammatic representation how it is so important, the nutrition of the mother and nutrition of the baby in that early phase. Can I have the next slide please? Okay, this is a simple study, just 30 seconds. Where they have done is they have cut off the supply to the rat, fetal rat, and uterine supply, and see what happens to those babies inside born. And whole thing was changed. All organ development has changed. The genetic impressions were changed. Ultimately, these rats later on developed what is equivalent to diseases we develop. So the fetal life nutrition is very important, and equally it should be carried on to the postnatal life. I started there. So you will be talking about the breastfeeding. So I'll just say one word. The breastfeeding is the breastfeeding. This is an amazing biological fluid on the globe. Nobody, no one, anywhere in the world can replace it. ఇది ప్రతి క్షణం బిడ్డ యొక్క అవసరాలకి అనుగుణంగా మారేటువంటి జీవ రసాయన ద్రవం. Can you believe there are live cells in it? It's just not nutrition, beyond the nutrition. I stop it there, I'll hand it to you.
Thank you, Dr. Vijayanand Garu.